What's good, y'all? It's your boy Smith. Today we're gonna be looking at some videos that's gonna have you holding your eyebrows like this in disbelief. But before we get into it, go ahead and like and subscribe. Help push this video in the algorithm and help us build out this community. Anyways, let's go. I don't know what's going on here, but I think she might want to get her tail inside. Go inside and just hope and pray this ain't the day that they decide to touch ground. That's wild. People always see these things and think UFOs and spaceships and aliens. And anytime I see something like that, I just think that one dude with the black hair just went Super Saiyan. Like, that's literally all I can think. I don't even know what this is. Y'all let me know what y'all think this is in the comments.
This may be the scariest footage of a mimic I have ever seen outside of my own because I experienced it, but let's look at this.
So she's back. The last time I made this video, people were saying that it's my double reflection. But I'm just gonna put up my hand here. Yeah, the sage has worn off.
This is not the first clip that was captured. In fact, there's a few. I wouldn't mind doing a deep dive on it just to see what's going on. But this footage alone sent chills down my spine because you can see her in the reflection of the window, but there's something behind her and it's not moving. And it looks a little bit too much like her for comfort. And it's not a shadow. Literally not a shadow. I don't know. It just creeped me out, and I knew if you guys didn't see it, you would want to.
I'm just gonna put up my hand here.
That's crazy. I don't even know what I'd do in that situation, right? But what do you do? It's not moving nothing in my living room or throwing nothing or breaking nothing, knocking, making noise at 3 o'clock in the morning. It's completely fine. I haven't seen any of her other videos. If y'all have, tag them or plug them in the comments. But this ain't that bad. You're just showing up in the reflection. I've seen worse.
Show yourself. I saw you. That's it. I'm calling the priest.
Man, f you.
I ain't expect that, but that's probably how they feel, whenever we bring the shamans or the whoever come in there and try to cleanse the house, when we bring the sage up in there and try to get the burnt, that's probably exactly how they feel.
All right, today's today. We are sick and tired of whatever's going on in this house. We are leaving. We've decided to move. Movers are here. They've wrapped everything up. We are packing out, and hopefully that's the end of it. This is a video that I really did not want to make, but you guys tell me. We are still moving in. It's been a couple weeks, but tell me if you are sharing this too, because I think I might be going crazy. There's no way, dude. Ooh. No. Nope. Not this again. Oh my gosh.
Nah, that sucks that he had to leave, right? It probably wasn't even on his own accord neither. Maybe he did want to leave, and I'm not leaving. I don't care how bad it gets, right? I could be dealing with a full-on possession. I ain't going nowhere, right? We're gonna have to learn how to live together.
At this point, I'm just like filming everything. I can't pause the TV. I'm gonna turn it off. At this point, I'm just like filming everything because like, what? Insane. I swear to God, I just heard a fucking ghost. At this point, I'm just like filming everything. I can't pause the TV. I'm gonna turn it off. At this point, I'm just like filming everything because like, what? Insane. I swear to God, I just heard a fucking ghost.
Yeah, I don't know if it was a ghost, but I heard it too. I don't know what they said. Sound like they said over there, or like she said over here, or I'm here, or something like that. But yeah, somebody was clearly there. She might want to go check to see who's outside.
Nah, dude, there's leaves all over the top of this thing. Somebody just left this shit here. Oh shit! Oh my fucking! Oh shit! Dude, I almost walked right into that.
The hell is that?
It's a bow and arrow. Oh, what the fuck is that? Look, look, look. Oh, damn it. Yo, that is a machete, bro.
Knife. What is it?
A machete. Don't touch that. Don't touch it.
It's not. Look at them bitches. Dude.
Oh my gosh, it's like razor blades.
Dude, there's a light on. There's a light on. There's a light on inside the tent. Dude, whatever's fucking body in there. Walk. You don't see inside.
Hello? Hey, we're just passing through. You need anything, or like water, or?
Damn light.
There's no one, somebody's in there. Let's look at the leaves.
Take it.
Anybody in there? Hello? Just look around us for a second. Stop, don't do that. Hello? Hey, we're just checking to see if you're okay.
I don't know what's going on in this video. The caption says, "Lost in the forest after someone shot at me." Bro, I would have took the machete out the tree. Both of those arrows, everything right there is a potential self-defense tool, right? You sound like you need all the help you can get. I'm gonna see if we can find any more like connected to this.
Bro, how's there a light on in there? But, oh shit. They just fall out of the tree? Yeah.
Oh, damn, that was up by my head.
That's what I'm saying. What was that?
What? Is it a leaf?
Oh my fucking gosh, look at this. Bro, look at this. I'm not joking. Look at this. Put the camera in there. No, to the left more. And down. Dude, there's all that stuff.
What is that?
Here, back up for a second. My book bag right here. Dude, I think oh shit. I think the light is a fluke thing. I really do. It doesn't, dude, there's like just junk in here. There's freaking, the leaves are still wet because the snow obviously melted. You see what I mean?
Yeah.
Like somebody just abandoned this thing here. What was that? That was weird. Dang. Bro, look at this shit. Oh my god, there's all kinds of shit here.
Huh?
Come here. Look at this.
You just get in there. This tent don't look very big.
Well, you ain't gotta get in, just look.
Ew. What the hell is that?
We can see these two dudes ain't that smart, right? I don't know what's going on, but if the caption is to be taken seriously, there's no way that I'm gonna have both sets of eyes confined inside of a tent at night at the same time. What are these dudes thinking? What are they thinking? Right? They're about to be paranormal, right? They're about to get turned into ghosts. They keep messing around like this. I don't know what didn't happen or what led to. I don't know. We'll give them one more chance.
It's like grenades or some shit. That's
I think it's a grenade box, yeah.
Be careful opening that shit up.
What the hell? It's Tootsie Rolls.
Like tampons, I mean.
Ew. Dirty ass spoons and fork. There ain't nothing else in there. Oh.
That's not warm in here.
It is. Damn, this bitch don't even open up. Okay, you ready to see what's inside this? Be like somebody kidney or something, bro.
Dude. Yeah, that does look like an organ.
It doesn't smell, but it's got Cheetos in it. Oh god. Oh. Fuck, it's open. Pretzels. Cup of noodles. Whatever that is.
Dude, who would?
Fruit cocktail. Corn dog. A Snickers bar. None of the shit's been opened except for these two. And whatever this is. Joyride. What the hell is that? Bubba from Delaware. What the fuck?
Bubba.
We're close to Delaware. Bubba, this is Bubba's tent, bro. Get the fuck
Let me
out.
tell you something. Bubba got some big drawers for a little ass tent.
Yeah, how's that big dude fitting in
Oh
here?
no, he probably don't even climb. He wraps it around him. It's like grenades or some shit. That's a
Yeah, these two ain't too smart. If they, I don't know what happens at the end of this, but if they don't make it out, whatever. They they don't even deserve to make it out. This is crazy.
On a sunny day, somewhere on a peninsula, a man records a video of an ancient fortress that was built in 1725. Obviously, the fortress has stood the test of time, seeing that it's still intact. But it's not the durability of this place that baffles the man who filmed this. Instead, it's what appears at this place that's left him pretty spooked. He was taking a video while he and his brother explored the fortress. Although many tourists come here, very few know that the fort has taken the lives of many pirates who invaded the peninsula during the 18th century. Knowing this, the man couldn't help but feel a haunting presence while being here. Now the quality is far from HD, but the video still captures footage of something visible and quite peculiar. This is what was caught.
Okay.
The man who took this had no idea that something appeared around the fort. He further adds that this, whatever it was, had been inside a closed-off section to the public. There was no way that a person could have accessed this area, as no one had stepped foot there for years. If it wasn't a person, as many believe, then what exactly was this? Now, it is kind of odd how despite the video's quality, we can still make out distinct figures in the distance, but this, even from a not-so-far distance, is hard to make out. While some speculate that it might be the spirit of a pirate who died while crossing the fort, others are simply baffled by the clip. Although uploaded in 2023, this video continues to remain a mystery.
Now I'm starting to really believe that this place here, right, this particular place is actually haunted. This is literally like the third video I've seen from this exact same place. And every time somebody's got some type of apparition in the footage. I think the last one we have one from before on this channel. I don't remember what episode it was on, but it was like a high school field trip or something like that, right? And then a bunch of girls was there recording and they caught something on camera. Yeah, and it seems that everybody that goes there recording catches something on camera, daytime, broad daylight, right? These ghosts ain't scared no more, especially there. That's wild. And like I said, I'm starting to really believe that this place here in particular is haunted.
Joey Wilson is a father who lives in Sacramento, California, where he and his family have been happily living for the past few years, but not everything has been entirely pleasant at home. Things between him and a quote-unquote neighbor have gotten very strange. According to Joey, there's an old lady who keeps peeking at him through his bushes in the backyard. She often appears in this area, just staring at him from a distance. Now, he's already called police to remove this person from his property, as he believes it could have been an elderly person who was lost and confused. But when police came, they couldn't find anyone, let alone any traces of a person who was hiding. If no one was there, then how is it that Joey was able to record a face hiding in the bushes? Take a look.
She's back in here trying to fucking find a way into my... Do you see her? Look at that face. Oh my god. It's right. Dude, how scary is that? Oh my god, dude. What the She's crawling through all this bro.
The supposed old lady that Joey keeps seeing in his backyard is briefly seen on camera, but if you look closely, something about her seems a bit off. It's the way she appears that might be the reason why so many think this wasn't a stranger, but instead, something else. Whether it's the pale complexion or the unnatural movement of this figure, Joey has found it necessary to build a fence in front of the bushes where it keeps showing up. But even with the barrier set up, the visitations haven't stopped, because recently, in a photo that Joey snapped, what looks like an arm can be seen resting on a branch where the old lady was spotted. Now apparently, some say that a face can also be seen here, but personally, I don't really see anything else. While it could just be a case of pareidolia, there's no way that the same can be said about this video. Clearly, something is moving, and as Joey and many others think, something about it just didn't feel right. Perhaps nightmare fuel would be the best way to describe what was captured.
Man, that's crazy. I'd seen this video before too, and I didn't understand the context. When I'd seen it initially, I thought it was just a person in the bushes playing around, and I didn't even think about like listening to it. This person moving through the bushes, making zero sound, right? Moving fast through them bushes, making no sound, right? That's not no human. That's not no organic being. That thing is not even physically taking up space in there. There's no way. It would have to bump up against branches and leaves, and there's no way, bro. There's no way. This dude's definitely got something. They might even want to like check those bushes for like a body or something, right? Right? Like I would even get to cutting them things down. There might be somebody buried under there. They're trying to let you know, bro. I don't know. I'm just trying to think about it from all angles, but that is kind of creepy.
my... What are you doing there? Who are you?
I got you good.
Oh, yes, you did. Oh, you got my heart good.
Nathan gets a little jump scare from his own daughter, but otherwise everything seems normal. But then, as he takes one last look down the basement stairs, a large ball suddenly flies toward him as if it was thrown by some invisible force. Since that day, the family has moved the little girl's playroom upstairs, and now they all try to avoid the basement as much as possible.
Yeah, that's crazy. Like, that whole video was just creepy as hell from beginning to end, with all the toys, the dark room. I don't know how that little girl came down there without making any sound. That was terrifying. Nope, you're gonna have to stop following me. I'm over it already. And then the fact that there's toys down here moving on their own. Nah, we're locking this door, putting a padlock on this door. Ain't nobody going down here ever again.
At a local bakery, a couple of kids are waiting patiently to get some candy from the shop's baker. It's Halloween, and the bakery is giving out treats to those who stop by. Although everyone in this video is getting some candy, one kid in particular isn't. He stands a few feet away from the group while seemingly observing them. It could be that he's shy and therefore hesitant to step forward. Or, as many comments have noted, it may be that he's seeing something. Now you might miss it, but at the start of the video, the small boy says something out loud, like "look it," as if noticing something in front of him. He even points at whatever it is that he's seeing. As soon as he does this, this happens. Watch closely. For some reason, the boy suddenly stops in his tracks as if something was blocking his path. He stands in place while staring at something unseen, but then his head quickly tilts up in the same way that someone would after being hit or pushed to the ground. In comment after comment, the same thing is being said. Something had pushed the boy. From the sudden pause in his walk, to earlier when he said "look it" while pointing at something, it's understandable as to why many think this. So, did something actually push the boy? Or was something else at play here that caused him to fall? It's hard to say, but the more you watch this clip, the harder it gets to answer this question.
No, that ain't no mystery. The kid saw something he wasn't supposed to see. That was a entity. Probably it could have been a demon, could have been anything, right? I doubt it was a demon because it would have did a lot more than that, right? it was probably just somebody with unfinished business and was like, "Hey, bro, you better get out the way." He said, "I can see you." And he was like, "Nah, no, you can't." He pulled right up on him, was like, "Yeah, I can. I see you." Got eye to eye with him, and then he just said, "Get the hell out of here," right? I don't know what just happened there. Right? It looked like he was pushed. It looked like he was pushed, like at his head, right? It looked like something pushed his forehead, or not even his shoulders, because in that case, like the head comes forward, right? When the body is pushed, that kid's head was pushed back, like he was looking up at a big entity, and it was like, "Hey, bro, get on out of here."
It's late at night when a group of friends decide to enter a hospital that's been out of service for quite some time. They would never come alone unless they were dared to do so, because apparently this place is not what it seems. Although seeming like an empty facility devoid of any doctors or patients, the Felix Bonis Hospital in Santiago, Chile has been said to have a certain presence within its walls. Now thankfully, the lights are still on inside this hospital, which is a good thing for the group. The emergency system powering these lights appears to be running, but even with the lights on, the following incident remains just as frightening. This is what they caught.
Familia, estamos aquí en el hospital Felix Bonis. Son las... ¿Qué hora es, familia? ¿Qué hora es? La 1:08. La 1:08. no mucho.
It happens quickly, but upon looking closely, you'll see what appears to be a silhouette of a person just walking past the group of friends. No one had noticed it, and no one realized what was captured until much later when watching the footage. Clearly, something had been there, but it's hard to say as to what exactly it was. Briefly, we can see what looks like a distinct outline of someone small. But strangely, whoever, or whatever this was, goes unnoticed by the group. It's for this reason that they no doubt believe that this had to be the spirit of a deceased patient who doesn't know they already passed. But ghost or not, it seems that what was captured will currently stay a mystery.
I don't know, that might have been the ghost of a deceased worker, bro. Like, she walked by him like she ain't want nothing to do, and like, come on, bro, I got stuff to do. She's still working the 12-hour shifts, and there she walked right by from room 511 to 512. You walked right across the hallway and went on about her business to go check on Mr. Anderson.
So my curiosity got the best of me, and I decided to buy those metal rods that when you ask the spirits yes or no questions, crosses yes, and then either stays still, like kind of a maybe thing, or they both go away from each other, that's a no. Well, I asked a few questions last night, and I got some very interesting answers I'd love to share with you. Probably be better if I do a video of me asking the questions with the rods, but I found a lot out, I believe. Believe there's about 8 entities in the house. I went through the whole numbers, and as soon as I went to 8, it crossed, and then when I said 9, it backed away. So I like to do this video to do those yes or no questions because it's incredible, and I think I might have an idea as to what is the main entity here, if that is who I was communicating with the other night. So, okay.
Bruh, ain't no way. 8 entities? You mean to tell me there's 8 other people living here and I'm paying all this rent? You tripping. Y'all better start chipping in. Ain't no way. That's where my oatmeal pie's been going. That's where my Twinkies been going. It makes sense now. 8 other entities. That's crazy. And at least it didn't get too crazy for her, right? At least they weren't in there causing no problems. But 8? That's wild.
I think my sister's possessed, and she's trying to possess me too. This Spooky Sierra Storytime submission came from Ruby. This is an allegedly true story about her and her sister. So Ruby's 26, her sister Alice is 28. They grew up in Norfolk, Virginia, and they've always been very close. They don't have contact with their dad, and they cut contact with their mom when they were 18. So they were really all each other had. Ruby said she's submitting this to the community because she's really looking for guidance. She's not sure if her sister needs to be checked in somewhere or if she needs a priest. And she said she doesn't know anything about demonic possession, but she has a feeling that that's what's going on here. So just to give you a little bit of background on both of their personalities, Ruby said that she's very free-spirited. She is a creative. She works from home, and she's not married. She has no kids, so she's not really tied down anywhere. Alice has always been the opposite. She met her fiance, later husband, in college. His name is James. As they came from sort of a broken home, Alice has always wanted a family of her own that she could love and cherish. Her and James have always been deeply in love since they met, and James's family has sort of adopted Alice and Ruby into their own family because they don't have parents of their own. Since college, Alice has worked as a school teacher for kindergartners. She's always wanted a bunch of kids, a bunch of dogs. She's always been goal-oriented. She's always had a very clear plan for her life, and that's why Ruby says she's so unsettled by the behaviors that Alice has been demonstrating for the past 2 years. Ruby said that Alice started to change in October of 2024. Alice and James' lease was coming up. They had been renting a small apartment, and they decided they wanted to start a family soon, and so they bought an old Victorian house built in the early 1900s in Richmond, Virginia. The house had been somewhat updated, like there was new appliances in the kitchen and the bathrooms were newer, but the original bones of the house were still there. There was original hardwood, an original fireplace, and it's also important to note that certain things were left in the house, like a very ornate mirror, one of the hallways, some bookshelves with a few old books left on them, and then some random junk in the attic in the basement. Ruby says the first time she visited the house, she thought it was cute, but it was definitely not the kind of house that she would want to be left alone in. It sort of gave her the creeps. A month after they moved in, they decided to host Thanksgiving for Ruby and for James's family at their new house because most of James's family had not seen the house yet. And so James's family is average size. She says he has a brother with a wife and kids, a few cousins, aunts and uncles, and then his parents. Thanksgiving Day, Ruby, Alice, and James's relatives all made dinner in the kitchen, and Ruby noticed that Alice was being sort of quiet, but she thought it was just she was stressed out from having all these people at her house. She thought the kids would break something or ruin the old hardwood or something like that, so she didn't really put too much stock into it. At the end of the day, Alice still hasn't pepped up at all, and so James walks his relatives out. He's saying goodbye in the driveway, and that's when Ruby hangs back. She's helping Alice clean up, and she says, "Hey, are you okay?" And Alice snaps her head to look at her, and she goes, "I'm fine. Why would you think I'm not?" Ruby just says, you've been super, super quiet all day, and I just wanted to make sure you're okay. And Alice says, yeah, I just didn't really sleep well last night because of the noise. And Ruby's like, what noise? And she's like, the tapping. And Ruby's like, what tapping? And she's like, yeah, I just hear this tapping all night. But no matter how hard I look or where I look, I can't find the noise. And Ruby dismisses this at first. She's like, it's probably just an old house noise. It's probably a pipe. And Alice is like, it's not a pipe. And she's like, well, has James heard it? And she's like, well, I've woken him up a few times, but he says he can't hear it. Looking back, Ruby says that this was the start of what she now believes was a pattern of concerning behavior, but back then, she didn't really question it. She really just thought it was a house noise. But over the next few weeks, Alice became more and more distant, but Ruby figured she was busy with moving in the new house, and so she didn't worry about it too much. But come closer to Christmas, she asked Alice, like, hey, are you guys hosting Christmas this year? And Alice says, no, we're not doing it. I think James's family's doing it, but I'm not going. And Ruby's like, why aren't you going? And she says, well, I've been really sick recently. I've been throwing up nonstop. And so initially, they both think that this is because Alice is pregnant, and they come to this conclusion rather quickly. It turns out that Alice was not pregnant, and it was a little bit sad, but her and James were not necessarily trying to have a baby. They weren't like not trying. They were kind of just like, if it happens, it happens, not tracking cycles or anything like that. So Ruby says, well, don't worry. I know you want a bunch of kids. It'll happen. And Alice says, I'm probably not going to have a bunch of kids. I think I'm infertile. And Ruby said this was surprising for her to hear because Alice had always planned on having a bunch of kids. She had talked about it openly. So it was just weird for her to say that she was probably infertile, but she didn't push her too much. She figured she was probably just grieving from finding out she wasn't pregnant. So come Christmas, Ruby actually did end up going to James's family, and she just says, she's not feeling well, and nobody really questions it. But her illness, her throwing up nonstop, her having this fever continues into the new year. And that's when Alice tells her one day, I think I'm going to switch my job around a little bit. I'm going to start teaching online instead of in person. And Ruby says she doesn't really understand how the school system necessarily works, but she does know sometimes at the start of new semesters, teachers are brought on and leave. And so she thought that Alice saying that she was going to be teaching online was just to make it easier for the rest of the school year while she was dealing with this illness. But in February, Alice calls her crying one day, and she says, I need you to come over. James left me. And Ruby was shocked because they had always seemingly had this perfect marriage. And so she rushes over there, and she notices right off the bat that there's a lot of things missing and also a lot of things broken. Like picture frames are knocked off the mantle with glass all over the floor. She asks Alice what happened, and she just says, we had a big fight this morning and he took off. Presses her for more information. She's like, obviously he did not just...
All right, well, I'm sorry I stopped right in the middle of the story. I don't know how far we are or how far we got to go, but good thing. It sucks that James just up and left, right? It sucks that he just up and left or whatever, right? But it's good that he got on up out of there because we know what possessions do to people, right? Especially in heated situations. This could have got ugly. She could have been receiving a different phone call, but let's see where this goes.
Because you guys had one fight. Like, you guys have always been so good. But Alice doesn't give her any other information. And she said she was fully prepared to take Alice's side regardless of what happened because that's her sister, that's her best friend. She still wanted to know the full details of what she was dealing with. She thought maybe that Alice had done something that she didn't want to admit to because then she thought Ruby would take James's side, but Alice just won't say anything else about it. But she does ask Ruby to stay the night that night. Did not have a guest room set up, so Ruby ended up sleeping in the bed with Alice. And they went to bed kind of early, but around 11 p.m. she wakes up to Alice shaking her awake, and she says, do you hear it? Ruby's laying in the dark, listening in the silence, and she's like, I don't hear anything. And Alice snaps at her and she says, you're just like him. Of course you can't hear it. She gets out of bed, she flings open the door, she runs down the hallway, and Ruby follows her because she's very confused as to what's going on. She walks out in the hallway and she said immediately it felt like the house was like 50 degrees. But granted, this is Virginia, it's February, and it's an older house. So she's like, maybe the heat doesn't work right. But she's like, I swear to you, when I breathed, I could see my breath. Past her breath, she can see Alice moving frantically down the hall, pausing intermittently to listen at the walls. She's like, what are you doing? And Alice is like, I'm trying to find the source of the tapping. And she proceeds to go through every room. And finally, Ruby doesn't hear anything, can't convince her that there's no tapping sound, so she goes back and lays down in bed. And eventually, around 6 a.m, Alice comes back in the room, sits at the end of the bed, and stares at the wall until the sun comes up. This was the night that Ruby realized that Alice was probably having some kind of mental break and she probably needed some kind of help because she didn't hear anything at the house and she fully believed that whatever was going on was just in Alice's mind. In the morning, she tells Alice, hey, I have to go home. I have to get some work done. I can come back over later if you want. But Alice begs her to stay. She's like, you can work from here. I know you work remote. And Ruby was like, honestly, though, I just needed to decompress. And I also wanted to call James because I wanted the full side of the story. So I left. I told her I'd be back later. I got in my car and I called James, but he didn't answer. And she thought because it was the middle of a work day, he was probably just at work and he would call her back, but he doesn't. So she tries him again and again, and he's ignoring all of her calls. Later that day, Alice calls her again. She's like, are you coming back over tonight? And Ruby said she really didn't want to, but she knew that Alice needed her. So she reluctantly goes over there. She says she's going to sleep on the couch. She falls asleep kind of early, and around 3 a.m, she hears Alice's door fly open and her stomping down the hall. Ruby said she just stayed on the couch. She did not want to go up there. She didn't want to disturb Alice, and she didn't want her to say anything creepy to her again because she was honestly a little bit scared. So she was drifting in and out of sleep on the couch, and that's when she heard the stairs creaking and Alice coming down, breathing this raggedy breath. Ruby says it was almost like she was gasping for air, even though she's never had respiratory issues. And then she hears this tapping coming from right above her head. So she opens her eyes and she sees Alice standing over her, tapping on the glass pane of the window. Alice says, this is what I hear all night. I want you to hear it too. And Ruby says, do you do this every night? And Alice says, yes. She stands over Ruby for an hour, tapping on the glass, whispering, this is what I hear all night long. Eventually, Alice went back upstairs, and as soon as the sun came up, Ruby left. She got in her car. She said she immediately called James. He didn't answer, but she called him again and again until finally he answered. But all he said when he picked up the phone was, the next time I'll talk to you will be at your sister's funeral. Do not contact me again, and he hangs up. Ruby says that's when the severity of everything really hit her because not only was she losing her sister, but she was losing James and his family, which was really the only family that she's ever had as an adult. She said she started crying when she realized she was not going to get the full picture because whatever was going on with Alice, James did not want to talk about, and she started looking up different symptoms of mental illness to explain what her sister was going through. She actually posted on an online forum to find out if anyone had ever experienced something similar, and some people on a forum suggested that it might be possession because the tapping comes at a certain time, she wakes up at a certain time. That suggests that the veil between worlds is thinner. They also suggested that certain artifacts in the house could have been haunted. Ruby says, I didn't grow up religious. I don't really know anything about possessions or hauntings besides what I've seen in horror movies, but the thought did strike me as something that could be happening because it did all start as soon as they moved into that house. She started asking Alice questions as nonchalantly as she could. She was like, when did this start? And Alice says, as soon as we moved into the house. And then she says, did James file for divorce? And Alice says, yes, but I'm happy about it. He's like a leech. He was trying to pressure me into this family that I didn't want. Alice says, have you heard anything else in the house? She says, yeah, I hear somebody walking around at night. James never heard that either because the house didn't like him. Said it felt like Alice was trying to brainwash her into thinking that James was evil, even though he had never been anything but good to her. And Alice also changed in other ways. For example, she stopped going out at all. She wouldn't grocery shop. She wouldn't run errands with Ruby, even though that's something that they always did together. They stopped going on their annual summer vacation. Alice said she didn't want to be in the sun. And one day, Ruby decided she was going to stop by with some fast food that Alice had always loved in order to cheer her up. Alice said, I don't want that. I don't even need to eat anymore. And Ruby said, what are you talking about? And she said, yeah, I don't have any use for things like that. All right, this one's really long. I'm posting another part right now.
I don't know if that lady, I don't think she's possessed, right? I think she's probably just going through something mentally. I wish somebody close to me would try to possess. Yeah, I wish you would try to possess me. Yeah, right. Yeah, man. That demon's going to inherit all types of issues. A super twisted sense of humor. You're not even really that good at video games no more, right? Oh, there you go. Joke's on you. Unfathomable sadness. Oh, joke's on you, right? I wish he would. Yeah, right. Now, I've never like even thought about that. And I've always seen it, right? Like, I never knew how real it was or anything like that, but I didn't think possessions were. I never feared possessions, and I've never been possessed. And I've been around haunted artifacts my entire life, right? Like we've been doing this our whole life. Yeah, I don't know though. It's good that listening to this now, I see why the dude left. He had probably not slept for weeks and weeks. This girl standing above him, tapping on the wall, talking about, this is what I hear. I need you to hear it. Yeah, right. Yeah, right. You do this again tomorrow, this is going to be the last time you do this around me. I see why he left. And once again, like I said, it's a good thing our boy got up out of there. Because if he was possessed, man, it would have been another Amityville horror in there. Anyways, that's the end of the video, y'all. If you made it this far, I appreciate you. I know you could have been anywhere else on this planet, but you decided to be here with your boy. That means a lot to me. Promise it does. Anyways, I'm out.